As Christians across the globe celebrate Christmas, the birth of Christ the Savior, the message of peace, humanity and compassion couldn't be more relevant to Bangladesh today, because on Christmas Eve, a cocktail explosion killed one. That too in front of a Dhaka church. And that's not all. Following the barbaric killing of Dipu Chandra, yet another Hindu has been murdered. According to Bangladeshi media, 29-year-old Amrit Mondal, alias Samrat, was beaten to death by a violent mob late on Wednesday. Somehow, the shock and horror of it all is drowning, because Bangladesh continues to sink into the abyss of hatred and jihadist violence. Given that a church was the target on Christmas Eve, let's remind you of the violence perpetrated against the Christians in Bangladesh. One that's not new. In fact, it is cyclical in nature. Christians, though less than 1% of the population, have long faced hostility from militant Islamist groups. Sample this. Over 36 attacks have been reported on Christian properties since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina in August last year. More than 100 families have either fled or renounced faith under duress. Churches have been vandalized, priests threatened, and Christian schools torched by mobs chanting Islamist slogans. In fact, just last month, on 7th November, the historic St. Mary's Cathedral Church in Dhaka was attacked with crude bombs. Keep in mind that it's one of Bangladesh's oldest Christian landmarks. Rewind to 2014 and the home of Soren Kubi, a relative of the Bishop of Mymensingh, was attacked and looted by extremists. But the attackers walked free. And in 2001, a devastating bombing in a Roman Catholic church in Gopalganj killed 10 people. A crime never properly prosecuted till date. Wonder why the US president is still silent? Ironically, it was Donald Trump who actively mobilized the Christian vote during his election campaign, projecting himself as God's chosen one. Let me remind you that the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has already documented this violence. Their report states that Jamaat-linked mobs have been involved in revenge attacks since last year's July uprising. Their targets? Predictably enough, the minorities, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists and Ahmadiyas. But this is no revelation. What's more alarming than the attacks themselves is the state's silence, the failure to condemn, prevent or punish these atrocities. It's not just incompetence, but complicity to surrender Bangladesh to the terror-linked jihadists. Is this the Naya Bangladesh, the persecutor's paradise? That's a question we'll be posing to our guests today. I'm joined in by Veena Sikri, who's a former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, who's a Bangladesh journalist, also joined in by Nirmal Rosario, who's the president of Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council. Thank you, Ambassador and the gentlemen, for joining in. Nirmal, I want to begin by wishing you a Merry Christmas, but I don't want to, in fact, add insult to injury today. The figures shared by your council were over 2,400 as far as the minority killings in Bangladesh is concerned. But given the recent bout of violence, could you enlighten our viewers, and do you have any estimate of the new current figures? Where do they stand?
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you all. And there's things you have mentioned, almost is correct. And the things, the position of the Christians in Bangladesh and the minority community as a whole, we are facing challenges. You know, in 2001, the Gopalganj killing was held, and afterward, during 2012, there was a killing at Banpara, that is Sunil Gomez, and our one pastor was been Parlerius, a Italian priest who had been shot down. So that was the situation, and now the situation has become more difficult for the Christians and as well as the minority community in Bangladesh.
Do you have any idea of the figures? Because your council has been actively sharing figures, one that was also endorsed by India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar. So can you give us any idea in terms of how many Hindus, Christians, Buddhists are being targeted? There's a lot going on social media. Unfortunately, because of the dissent on Bangladeshi media, none of that is filtering through any verified sources. So I just want you to give us an estimate.
No, sir, estimations of what we have given on behalf of Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council, it was 2010, and first up to October last year. Then later on, there was an incident that is around 70 or like, and almost more than 2,300 incident has been occurred here in after the fall of the government, Awami government. So it is very tensionious for us and very sad for us that such a big number of incidents happened, and there was killing or raping and other attacks
So
on
you're
the
saying in
houses of
this recent
minorities.
bout of violence also rapes are happening? Are Hindu villages again being targeted?
Yeah. So it is happening, and it is also happening to the hill area, that is CST area and other area, and the minority peoples. We are feeling some sort of insecurity, and before few days, now several churches were being targeted, and Tesgam Church and the Cathedral Church at Kakrail, and some
Okay.
other one church is at Asad Gate, and different churches were being targeted, bomb thrown and blasted there. And finally, the day before yesterday, you heard, and I visited the place yesterday. It is at Romna, in front of our national NCCB, national churches,
Okay.